Good morning, everybody. So, what we are focused on here is going to be, uh, stay with me one second, Tesla. And good morning, Jen. And I really want to focus on some other things like Walmart, for example. I think that Walmart's earnings were just abysmal, to say the least. There's very little way to say anything else about them. They just were not good. It's why I did the live stream last night. I know people aren't a fan of the live stream. They'd rather just have me recorded, but I thought it was important to jump right on it, quite frankly, with how bad things were. So we'll see how that continues to go. But we have a lot to go over. Yeah, I saw that. The dollar is going to be a real issue, Travis. The dollar's going to be a real issue for earnings this week. And we saw that, right? We saw that with some names already where they were coming out and talking about earnings last week. Even the banks were talking about it and how they were having issues. So I don't think that that's going to stop anytime soon. I do think that's something that you can kind of look at and figure out what you're going to do with. But in regards to, let me just see something here. In regards to, how that's going to affect names, it's definitely going to affect names. It affected Tesla. It's going to affect anybody that deals globally. It's definitely going to affect companies like this. It just is. I mean, it's just the way that it's going to be. So I do think it's an issue. I think it's more of an issue than people think it is because they're not hedged. I also think it's very telling that China had to come out and issue a statement. And that's actually why this went up. China actually had to issue a statement saying, hey, we are going to leave our currency pinned at this particular level. I went through a whole dissertation on this in the private trading room, where this is a real issue. And it's an issue that's not being addressed, because if this happens, it's going to greatly affect the way that certain stocks are traded. So it's definitely something that should be viewed, and it's definitely something that should be taken very seriously. So I can't stress that enough. How people act on that is going to be obviously up to them, but it's definitely something that I would be super focused on. Super focused on, because it's big, and you're not going to have. And that's one of the reasons I kind of like biotech, is because like biotech, I don't have to deal with currency fluctuations as much. I'm not really sure why this keeps beeping. But I don't have to deal with currency fluctuations so much with biotech, do I? Right? Like, it's not going to be that big of an issue. So I like those kinds of names. There's certain names that you're just not going to have a problem with. And I think that's really important to understand. There's just certain names like that that are they're not going to be an issue. And for me, there are kinds of names that maybe that we should, maybe we should be looking at. So bear with me one second here. Okay, so I just want to look at something. I bought this yesterday, and I have a trade on. And I just want to see, yeah. So I got to that level and I rejected. That's not really what I wanted to see. I'm just looking at oil really quickly here. I do have a trade on in it. And I did get to that level and I just completely rejected it, didn't I? So I'm going to have to watch this a little bit and just see how this goes. I like this. I want to stay in it. But I got to watch this, because we just got right to that level and we rejected. So that's not what you want to see. You don't want to really see you rejecting that 113 level. Let me see where I have that in from. Got that in from somewhere. Wow, look at that level, how perfect that is. I wonder where I started that level from. Not from the hourly. That's so, that's why I like leaving levels here sometimes, and then wondering where the heck they came from. But I won't let me go back far enough. It must be something from a while ago. It's got to be from months ago, but it's there and we went right to it. So whatever that is, it's respecting it. See if I can find it this way really quickly. Yep, right there. Look at that. Look how perfect that is. That's why it's so important to leave these levels in. When you see them, you're like, oh, you know, breaks it, boom. And support, right, has become resistance. So I'm going to have to watch this level pretty closely here and just see how that acts. Hopefully it catches, you know, and goes through that. If it doesn't, I'm going to have to make some kind of decision pre-market, which I really don't want to do. I really don't want to have to make that decision. But I might not have a choice. Let me just set this up in case I have to hit that button. So, all right, let's get back to it. But to answer your question, yeah, it's a real issue, the strong dollar. Now, it's going to affect companies like Amazon. It's definitely going to affect global corporations. It's going to affect tech companies enormously, like Microsoft. Any of these companies are going to be affected by the strong dollar. It's just the way that it is. So, you know, something to definitely consider, and definitely something to, you know, think about. For me, it is anyway. I mean, I would definitely be focused on it. So, you know, I would recommend that you be focused on it as well, but that's up to you. But I do think that, yeah, Google will have an issue with it. Anything that is just a global conglomerate, especially tech-based, is going to have a large issue with currency fluctuation right now. So definitely something to think about. I have so many names that I can go over right now. So if you have names that you want me to go over, simply let me know, and I'm more than happy to go over them. Don't think I dropped this live link in the trading room yet. Bear with me 1 second while we do that. And let me just load that in, and I'll do that now. I'm gonna get that in there. So yeah, I know that people. I know that there's an issue there. You have to wait till it happens. Wait 5 hours for that. Oh, so it's got to like load in. Yeah, that's definitely an issue. You know, it's definitely something that I concern myself with, because you're seeing a lot of people. Let me just get this link in that room, and then we'll go from there. The video, there it is. I didn't put it in the room. Perfect. So there we are. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I mean, I always look at like the views and see how it did, but I think it would have done better had I just put it out there. But I wanted to answer questions. That's why I did it, Brian. Thanks, B. So yeah, I agree. I mean, it's definitely something to look at. Look, Travis, don't not look at that. I mean, definitely look at that. I mean, you need to watch the dollar. Siga, yeah, I mean, like, you did what you were supposed to do yesterday, right? And you ran up. I don't, you know, I don't really see this as a huge victory for the name. Like, this is about as bad as it's going to get for the company, right? Or as good as it's going to get. Monkeypox is bad. The WHO declares monkeypox is super bad. You know, obviously nobody wants this thing, right? And it looks, you know, awful. But it seems like it's geared towards one. Well, not geared. It seems like it's going towards one point of one group of a population. I doesn't mean it can't spread from there, right? So I think it's an issue from a stock perspective. I broke, and then I rallied. I'm always very suspect of these. They usually get a huge reaction one way, but I'm always very suspect of this. And then the fact that I just couldn't get, like, here, let's look at it this way. I just really couldn't get that like oomph through. Gave me a little more concern, I guess, is the best way to say it. So that's really what I, you know, am looking for. I'm looking for that push through. That's what I want to see. So, you know, let's see how that plays itself out, and we'll go from there. But that's really where my focal point would be. Yeah, Microsoft and Google. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, I don't know how Microsoft's going to do. I really don't. they're gonna have currency issues. There's no way around. Like, I know that they're gonna have currency issues. There's no way they hedged that much against the dollar that fast. There's just no way. And one of the key things here, let's get rid of these. Let's just walk through this. And we can see that earnings are today, right? So you can see that, what I would be focused on, frankly, is I would watch how Walmart acts today and how Amazon acts today. I'd be really curious to see if there's any kind of bounce or hold there in those names. I'm not sure there will be, but let's just keep going. But Microsoft, like here, just look at this on the daily. I mean, so now remember what Microsoft tends to do after hours. It tends to sell down and then rally into the conference call when everything's explained. So there are patterns to these names, and you need to understand those patterns. But that's definitely something that you should be, looking at. And it's definitely something that I will be looking at for sure. So just watch this and watch that line, because if you flip that line, you're flipping it in two spots. Here, look. Right? So you can see how there's two trend lines there. So whoever's watching this one, someone's watching this one. You follow me? So just something to think about. There's a lot going on right here. Right? Someone's going to actually say that we flipped this one and tried to break and ran into these two, right? You could make that argument. How these earnings play out, I have no idea. I have no idea what they're sandbagging, what they're not sandbagging. I would think I heard a really good article, or I heard a really good podcast. So I listened to The Compound, not so much for their ideas, but for the guests that are on there. They, I don't think that they have the best ideas, frankly, but I think the way that they pitch things is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. But the guests that they have there talking about why wouldn't, if you were a CEO and your stock's already down, right? Why wouldn't you throw in the kitchen sink this quarter? And this lady that's been around for a long time said it, and I agree with her. Like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're a firm and your stock's already pummeled, right? Why wouldn't you throw in a kitchen sink quarter to make the comps for next quarter so good that you come roaring back and you look like a winner, right? Very similar to what Netflix did, right? We saw Netflix do this. Netflix had the single largest subscriber rate loss that it's ever had, and the stock went up. Why did the stock go up? The stock went up for one reason, right? Because they only lost 1 million subscribers instead of 2 million subscribers. So they played it perfectly. Now, since then, you can kind of see we got to that level, the rejection and what's going on there. But could Google do something like that where they throw the kitchen sink and say, hey, things are going to be super bad, really bad. Things are so bad, and they're really not? Yeah, I mean, Microsoft could do it too. So that is a probability tonight that happens, that they just throw the kitchen sink at this. And it's one of the reasons why I've been telling people and telling not only the trading room, let me put this banner up because the trading room actually is open now for the next 4 days. And let me change that from 5 to 4. And I'm going to put this banner on the bottom. So, and let me show that. So the trading room is actually open for the next 4 days. If you're interested, there's a link in the description. But, in regards to what's going on here, I think you have to take into account really, like, do they throw in the kitchen sink? They very well might. So don't rule that out, right? Like, don't rule that out as something that could happen. It most certainly can. Let's see here and go from there. So let me just make sure something. Just give me 1 second. I just have somebody in the room. Answer her really quickly. So I really think you have to look at this. Like, I can't tell you what these companies do earnings wise. Nobody can. We can estimate. We can estimate, like, yeah, it's declining. I don't think you can really use Snap as a guide to determine what's going to happen here, right? Like, I don't think Snap could be your guide to determine what's going to happen. For me, I think the easiest trade so far has just been like I shorted Tesla yesterday. To me, it's been an easy short because I'm like, oh, I'll just use this as a guide for the market. Like if the NASDAQ cracks, this is not going higher. This is going to get slaughtered. Now I just have to watch those levels. But playing these into earnings is going to be really, really hard. I would argue that if you're trying to figure out the right way to do it, I would watch how Amazon reacts today because that's going to give you an example of how you're going to react ahead of earnings. And I would watch how Amazon reacts today, and I would watch how Walmart acts today, because Walmart's quarter was awful. Like this was unbelievably awful. It wasn't just that the quarter was bad; it's that they basically came out and said the whole next year is going to be weak too. Like they went out to fiscal 2023 and started messing there, which is significantly different. And like people were saying, oh, there's no difference between this and what Target did. No, that's nonsense. Target said it might be a 1 quarter thing. Walmart went out quarters and took down earnings, went out next year and took down their earnings. So very different than what we've seen happen in the past. There are 2 things before I take the next question that I really do want to go over. And I want people to be aware of this stuff. Okay, so Coin is being investigated by the SEC for selling unlicensed securities. Let me explain to you why that's bad, besides the obvious, okay? Customers that bought tokens that were securities, okay, and let's say they lost millions of dollars, they're going to sue Coin, okay, and they're going to win. You can't just say it's not a security because you don't want it to be a security. It doesn't work that way. And the things that are securities, the SEC is going to go after, and now they're getting customer complaints, right? So now they're getting tons of customer complaints going, where were you with this? And so now the SEC has to act. So they're going to file suit, and then behind that suit, you're going to start seeing litigations. It's going to happen to all these crypto companies, all of them, okay? So anything like if FTX did it, which you can't really short, they're going to have an issue with it. Hood's going to have an issue with it. Anybody that sold crypto is going to have a massive problem and possibly see write-downs based upon this. I'm not really sure what that is or what's going on there. What the heck is this? So, sorry, something just popped up on my screen. So I think that's an issue. Now, if I lose power, I apologize. There's a big lightning storm behind me. So I'm in Miami right now, and there's just a huge lightning storm. So I don't know that I will lose power, but just FYI, if it happens, that's what it is. You can actually hear the thunder. It's crazy. Anyway, I think you need to be aware of things like that. Now, with people not shopping, okay, these companies like Carvana that I keep saying are, they're going to blow up. This kind of stuff you need to start watching, because it's clear that the banks are wrong and that the consumer is struggling way more than we think it is. Names like Ally, where they lend, right, to higher risk people, okay, for cars, they're going to have an issue, all right? So anything like that, remember AT&T's earnings, what they said, okay? AT&T said customers are having a hard time paying their bill, and everybody kind of shrugged it off. Except for one economist that was like, you need to pay attention to this. And I agree with her. That's a really bad sign when you can't pay your mobile bill. So people are talking about the jobs being created. What they're not getting is it's taking people to work 2 jobs in order to live their current lifestyle. That's a real problem. It's a real problem because then you start getting rid of stuff, and that's what you're seeing happen. So that was a little dissertation, and we'll go from there. But I think it's important. So let's just keep going through these now. I went on a little rant there, but I think it was pertinent. I just need to aim to yourself too. That's it. Yeah, it doesn't work that way, man. What we need and what happens are usually 2 different things. Do I think AMD could sell down? Yeah, it absolutely can. So what you want to watch for, what you really want to focus on is this. Just watch, you rallied, right, yesterday. So you need to watch that 85.12 level. If you don't break 85.12, you might want to just go on the assessment that you're not going to break down. Let's just see what's going on here very quickly. Yeah, that's not really doing what I needed to do. I'm just going to have to watch that level and see how it goes. My hope is that it consolidated, breaks through that 115. I don't know if I'm going to get that or not. What's going on here internally? That's not the best, is it? So we're going to have to watch that and see what happens with it. Hopefully it holds. But I do think that AMD, watch that 8512 MAR. Yeah, I mean, I know why people are playing these. Look, you're going into earnings. Travel is up substantially. So I don't know how these companies do. I do know that Marriott's kicking Airbnb's butt right now. It's cheaper, it's cleaner, it's better at contactless entry. No cleaning fees. Like Marriott's crushing them. There's a little kitchen in there. They're just absolutely crushing Airbnb right now. It's not even close. So something to think about. No, the higher end stuff, maybe not, or the super low end stuff, maybe not. But like that middle spot, there's really no reason not to stay to Marriott again. They changed the pricing, they changed the contact entry, so you don't have to go through the check-in. It's sickly brilliant. Hilton's going to do the same thing if they haven't already. So I would not want to be short or long going into earnings. Look, you can get one of these for sure. The last two were great, and people are traveling. You have to go back a full year before you even found one that you went down on. So you're playing it, but you're playing it in the earnings, and that's next week. That's up to you. It's not something I would do. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I do think UNG is going to take out highs. It was a team effort on that one, really, wasn't it? Like when you think about the trading room and getting information from people in the trading room that are, overseas and putting all those pieces together. So good evening. Thoughts on KO, please? Yeah. So as far as Coke goes, I mean, as goes consumerism, as goes Coke. The reason why people like buying Coke is because they can really predict what they're going to see here, right? They can really predict this based upon a consumer staple, and it's viewed more as a consumer staple. I don't really view it that way, but I know that people do view it that way, and I actually think it's one of the largest ones in the consumer staple index. So as far as, what to do now with the earnings and everything, that's entirely up to you. It really depends on how you want to handle that. To me, you see that trend line? That trend line tells you everything that you want to know, right? Like all you have to do is watch that trend line if you want to be in there. I don't see anything fantastic about it. They came out, they beat by 3 cents. They beat by $500 million. I don't see anything here that I got to go, hog wild about. I don't know when their conference call is. It's not a conference call that I listen to. But I really think that it's possible. I really do. And I just want to, point this out again, while I'm thinking about it. I would watch this level. If I wanted to buy it, I'd wait till I flip that. That's what I'd be watching. I just want to point this out again. Like this coin can get absolutely destroyed. I kind of have a perma short on this. People are aware of that. They're in the trading room. This can get destroyed when people start understanding what this is going to mean. The problems that they're going to have and the years of litigation that they're now facing. No one's going to buy them. No one's going to go near them, and they're going to be sued for years. So it's a completely different story now. Just be aware of that. Okay. So this is what I was talking about with like Walmart. You really want to watch these today and how you're acting and seeing if you can rally and if you're going to rally. So these are levels. Always use these 15-minute bars after hours. The 1 and the 15-minute charts are great. You can see these lines right here, right? See, close, open, high. Look where the close is. I mean, what level should you be watching, right? I mean, you got it. I mean, you can see that, right? You can see how this RSI has been turning up all morning and how you've gone from overbought to where you are now. So if this was to pop up and go up about $3, $4, nobody should really be surprised by that, right? And you might want to use that line next, 121.87, maybe use that as a guide for today. That might be something that might be worthwhile. You might want to screenshot that or write those numbers down. So, but to get back to Coke, Haley, what I would focus on with Coke is this. I would focus on that line. Was it a good quarter? Yes. Are revenues up? Yes. Okay. That's what you want to see, right? That's exactly what you want to see. So it's definitely something that I will personally be focused on and watching that line. But other than that, I have very little interest in it. Good morning, shoppers. What's up, Alex? Yeah. Yeah, you got to watch that, man. I don't think that that's going to happen. Boyle's going to just rock, dude. Minerals are up big. Hey, Daniel, what's going on? Alex, yep, let's go. Let's take a look at GFS. I like that idea. I like looking at that. I think that can give us some real color as to what's going on here. So you got right to your line and you rejected, right? And it was here where I thought we were going to break on that rejection, and we didn't. But, let's just talk about what you're forming, because this is a really good idea to look at, Alex, so that you can kind of get this, right? You're on that line. If you break that and you break this 44.5, you have to assume you're going to complete the rising wedge move down to 36. I do think that this is interesting from that perspective, because you have a $50 billion bill for semiconductor manufacturer in the U.S. Nobody benefits from that greater than GFS and Taiwan Semi. I mean, they benefit the most from this bill. Just understand that, because they are the foundries. They are where the chips are made, right? But if you look at what Barclays said about the whole space, they were basically saying, look, this space is a disaster going into earnings. You don't want anything to do with it. They cut NVIDIA's earnings and target price down substantially, which was very surprising to see somebody throw the towel in on NVIDIA, going into August and saying, hey, you don't want any part of this. That was very surprising. And it's very surprising to me, especially after Taiwan Semi's earnings, where they talked about, 5 to 7 nanometers was kicking up. And you look at kind of that you're still up above that level. So what does that mean for GFS? It means that, you could be setting up to roll here. So what we're going to want to do is we're just going to want to watch that rising trend line and go from there. I can't imagine capacity utilization in GFS is as high as it was back here, which was over 100%. I just can't imagine that's the case. So maybe it sells down on that. Yeah, MP. What's going on, Chuck? Yeah. So let's go through that too. But I do want to go through shop MP. So names like this, I mean, you can look at names like this. I don't know, man. Everyone's saying like, oh, basic materials. I think they're missing the point. If you have demand destruction, you really don't see the basic materials go up. You're not having demand destruction on energy. Okay. You don't have enough of it. So there's a really big difference there, right? Supply and demand. It's not about this mineral or basic material. And I think that you kind of have to understand that a little bit, and how that's changing, and how that's going to change things. So, yeah, shop laying off people. Yeah, that's going to be really bad. And it's not going to be good for Amazon. I'm really glad that we didn't do this, really glad I didn't put that. This was when I was seriously considering putting in the newsletter, on this break right here, because it just looked like so perfect. It never broke it, thank God. But it happens. Them coming out and laying off 10% of their workforce now. How low can it go? I mean, just watch that 30 level. I mean, that's really what you have to watch. So, that's really where the rub is now. So something to think about for sure. I would be concerned. If I was shop and I did this, and earnings are when? I think the earnings are to 27th. So they're coming out a day early and saying they're laying off people. I mean, how good do you think their earnings are going to be? Right? Earnings are tomorrow, right? I mean, they didn't come out and pre-announce earnings, did they? I may have missed things. It's very possible that I missed things. I look at a lot of data in the morning, and I can't always see all of it. Yeah, I mean, let's just see. Yeah, the conference call is tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. It's a very interesting statement. Shopify to lay off 10% of its workers, and he was wrong. They said the pandemic would last. Well, I don't understand how you're that wrong. I mean, at least you admit it. Let me just take a look at this statement so you can all see it. Put that out there, so because I think that's important. So yeah, I hit that, right? So you should go. Okay. And let me just give me 1 second. Please like this video. It helps me greatly with the algorithm. And I purposely don't run ads to waste your time. The trading room is open for the next 4 days, and then I'm closing it again for a period of time. This is what was said today. So I think that is important. I really do. I think that's very important. Sean, thanks for bringing that to my attention. That wasn't even on my radar to look at this morning. And that's really bad that you're making that statement now. So again, watch that level I gave on Walmart. Coins, definitely one that would be on my list. This boil's kind of breaking down a little bit right now. Let me just see what we can do there and see if we can get that. Okay, great. So, I'm not really crazy about that. I'm going to trim that a little bit. I'm just going to, hold on 1 second, please. I'm just going to put something in the room. Bear with me. And let's just see here. Let's take a look at Oxy, see what Oxy's doing. Yeah. So I really like this. I like the fact how it's acting, but this got ahead of itself. Remember, like I believe this is a 2X. So if UNG is up, 4%, this should really be up 8, right? You can see what UNG is doing this morning and how it was up so much more. So as that comes in, these kind of should stay in line 2-to-1, right? So if they're not 2-to-1, pardon me, you might want to just avoid it. Oof. All right, let's just keep going. So, but that shop trade, I would definitely watch. So there we go. And let's just keep running through these names. Thoughts on Roku? You're welcome, buddy. I appreciate it. I feel like I missed a bunch. Yeah, it's pouring here. Yo, Bob, what's going on? Let's just see here. But what's going on, DeBazian? Bro, we're already in a recession. Just call it what it is. John, should it? Yeah, it should. But if the larger supplier is playing games, right? Russia is the largest supplier to the EU. And if Russia is going to play games with it, turning it on and off at will, they have a problem. I mean, there's a problem over there. Record inflows into China, not so much anywhere else. So keep that in mind. Should you see demand destruction? Yeah, you should. You should see it coming in. But, we're not seeing that. So that's definitely something that we have to pay attention to. But, as UNG moves, the space will start to move. But I do want to hammer this out. Like, there's money out there, okay? And that money's got to go somewhere. And right now, it does not seem like, I thought it might be retail. Like we took a shot with some of the retail names. It's not retail. Retail's blowing up, okay? So you're going to want to stay out of the way of retail. And so where are you going to put your money? Right? You're going to put your money in energy. I think you're going to put your money in energy. And I think you're going to put your money in biotech. I mean, I've been pretty vocal about that, right? But, we didn't really take out that lower low this morning. I can't say that about a lot of other indexes, right? I really can't say that about a lot of others. So, but we'll see, John. I don't know. Do these get ahead of themselves? Yeah, this gets ahead of itself. It just did, right? It just did. So could this pull back? I mean, this could absolutely do this. Natural gas can absolutely do this, right? I just, what I'm saying is, and you just kind of, bounce around. But what I'm saying is, I don't see how they're going to fix the natural gas issue specifically, or the energy issue, until there is peace, until Russia essentially gets what they want at this point. I just don't see how it's going to stop. Now, I've been wrong before, but I mean, this has just been on a tear. I mean, look at this. This is just crazy, right? I mean, usually you would rest and build. This didn't even build. It just went. So could this come down? Could this have gotten ahead of itself? Absolutely. That's why I trimmed some. But I just don't see the solution. And the other thing, John, is what I really don't see is I don't see them doing anything to fix the solution in the future, right? I mean, cars don't run on rainbows. So if you want to be green, then you better start coming out with a lot of green energy. So a lot, not a little, not like a couple solar panels, but like fields of solar panels, like really huge push. Solar panels on roofs of houses, all that. You're not seeing that. You're seeing the talk of it, but that talk's not doing anything. So I don't see how you can get away with this and the demand. See how this moves 2 for 1? So whenever it's skewed, you just blow out of some of this. So I hope that helps, John. It's not political. It's just, this is what's going on. Yeah, dude. Yeah, and that's what I'm, Travis, dude, that's my point. That's my exact point. Like, think how bad that is now, and what are we doing, right? I'm listening to the banks tell me that the consumer's in great shape. Does that consumer look like it's in great shape? Like, no, it's a problem. It's a real problem. You're 100% right, Travis. Yeah, they jack the price up. Now, Amazon's buying more retail to tie it into Prime, but yeah, that's not something you should do. Yeah, no, I got you, Matt. I figured that was spell check, brother. Hey, Chance. Thoughts on Ruku's earnings. So let's take a look at Roku. So could Roku, can Roku do okay? They're already down 4%. You're not supposed to have earnings to the 28th unless they pre-announced and I missed it. And I'm going to just double check that real quick just to see if I did miss it. Now, you got some downgrades this morning. You got Wolf downgrading it to basically a sell with a $77 target price. And you have Roku at a market perform. That's not something that I would be looking for at all. That's not something I would be doing at all, man. So yeah, I wouldn't be going near this. I mean, why are they downgrading it? Like, if you have to think about it, right? If you're an analyst, why would you take the risk to downgrade this before earnings? Unless you know that you're right. You have to know that you're right, or you wouldn't take the risk. You wouldn't ruin your career or take a ding against your career, right? So, also share this on social media. The more people we get in here, the better, the more ideas we get. TTD. Yeah, let's take a look at that, Alex. So it takes 2 seconds for you to hit this. Let's see there. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good company, and I thought you might rally. Now, I will say this. I do like when you break these levels. I don't know if I'm buying this ahead of earnings, man. Like, these are crapshoots right now. And the earnings that are starting to come out are not good. And that's the problem, right? Alex, even with like Trade Desk, like maybe see what happens with Microsoft first and see if they go after that sector. But some of these sectors, like some of these names are going to get hammered today. Like CVNA could be down 10%. Coins could be down 15, 20% today. When people start really getting this, this move could be double what it is right now. Like this is really bad. So I don't know, man. I'm not after what happened yesterday with Walmart, what UPS said today, what Shop just did. I think stepping in front of earnings right now is crazy. You might miss the one anomaly like Microsoft tonight or Google has good earnings. Like the best thing that could happen to tech, all tech, is Google having good earnings. That would be the best thing. So I would be careful there, man. What's going on, DeBazian? What do you got? So, I mean, this looks really good. Out of all the stocks that we looked at today, you found one that's going up. I have no volume, so I'd probably avoid it. I'd probably avoid it till I get volume, DeBazian. So, Chewy, I still have to feed my dogs no matter what. Yeah, John, you know what it is? I'll tell you why they downgraded it. They downgraded it because the consumer at Walmart. So it's not that, and no matter what, you're going to feed your dog, right? But here's the issue that you're going to run into. Are you going to buy that premium dog food? You might, but is the average American? Are you going to buy that premium dog food? Or are you going to double order ahead of time, right? Or are you going to order the bones? Are you going to order this? Are you going to cut it back? You might cut it back, right? Are you going to cut food? Like you have to think about it this way, John. If the average person is having trouble with their AT&T bill, are they going to keep their phone or are they going to get the premium dog food? Like that's the problem that's happening here. And, people don't get it a lot of the time, but it's a real issue. And I'm not saying you're not going to feed your dog, but you're sure as heck going to take a look at things and try to figure out what the hell's going on. Excuse my language, but you're really going to try to figure out what the heck's going on with your finances. And the one place you might start cutting it is squeezy toys. You might not do all the ancillary things that you would initially get your dog. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Most people have humanized their dogs at this point. They're like family members. I love dogs. So, I mean, I'm a huge dog fan. I think if someone doesn't like a dog, you have to worry about them more than you have to worry about the dog. But you see what's going on right in this area. You can see how we're holding right there. So 193 coming across, bonk, 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 flips, breaks, bonk, bonk. I mean, there's your level. There's very little to say. I mean, there's your level. You're trying to get up there. You want to, I mean, it can't get any cleaner. So it's up to you. That's not my kind of trade. I've got resistance up here. I've got resistance here. That's not something I'd be playing with. Tallow. Let's take a look at tallow through this. Yeah, I can see you taking a shot. I wouldn't go crazy. I wouldn't go crazy on it. I think it's huge, and I think people should be paying attention to what's happening. People, what the EU did and what the US did with these sanctions was really a very bad idea. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done something, but you're forcing people off of your currency system, of your banking system. That was disastrous. So, no. Enrollment will be closed. So I only leave enrollment open in the trading room for a period of time, and then I close it, let everybody get acclimated to it, and then reopen it. So that's what I'm referring to. The room will not be closed like that. It'll just be closed for enrollment. I hope that helps, Falcon. Yeah, I mean, LNG, those kinds of names, can they work? Sure. You have to deal with the companies in and of themselves. But can names like LNG work, GLNG, Yeah, I mean, these names can definitely work. They can definitely work. Uranium, I was looking at, they just take too long to move. Okay, so I got Deanna. Let's block that user. So I took the Boyle trade yesterday. What's the stop level? So, I mean, I trimmed out of some of it already. My concern with the Boyle trade is this now. Here, let me just show you. Let's click off of this. And let's go here. So my concern is this level and how we rejected it. So I would see how you bid up and go from there. You can't, no matter if you're trying to really hang in there, you can use 95.61 or 95 as a stop. If that you want to use a drop dead stop, I would definitely trim into this kind of move. Would be my advice, Steve. I would definitely trim into this morning because this can just reverse, right? It's a commodity. They could just reverse it. Not that it's going to stay down forever, but they could just reverse it today. So I would definitely trim into it. Rips, rest in peace, Squeezy Toys. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't think you're going to see the Squeezy Toys. Good morning, GM missed profits. Yeah. So you're going to see more and more of this. They could actually have currency exchange issues, but that could definitely affect the market as a whole. I mean, it just shows that we're not stable. That shop news is really bad. That could take out a low. Para. Wow, that's toast. Yeah, that's just toast. I don't know what they do or whatever, but wow, that's just done. That's when you just like if you take that 23 out, 23.70, you just put a short on that. They must have issued guidance. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I mean, we're paying for the sanctions. Like it's nuts that they're not. I don't know if they get it or they don't get it. It's always so fascinating. You just never know if they actually get it or not, or they're so far removed. I think they're so far removed. This could move. You could see this turn around MOS. Watch that level closely. If you're going to play MOS, watch that 50-day. CF, it's not a coincidence, right? It's not a coincidence that both of these are right where. So watch that flip. If you can flip there today, some people in the room playing this. So just watch them. Can they run? Yeah. Yeah, they can. They absolutely can. A lot of problems with Ukrainian land. A lot of problems. I'm short, or I'm on the other side of your trade. I'm short Tesla. Okay. Put the pipe down. Yeah, because I'd be careful there. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like we paid big for Trump's China sanctions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I know these sanctions and they're out there. Even like, people don't understand that. Like, there were tariffs before, and there were tariffs on from Trump on like solar panels. Like, that's not really what we want. We want solar panels everywhere. I mean, why wouldn't you want solar panels on a roof? Like, it just makes sense, right? You don't want it on the front of your house because you don't like the way it. Okay, put them on the back. I mean, it's not that. No, it's not that difficult to figure out and to do. So it's just silly not to have them. I mean, they generate energy. All right, I got to jump. I got to hop in the trading room. Any questions, reach out. If you want to join the trading room, there's 4 days left, and then enrollment will be closed. And that's pretty much it. That's all I have. Everybody, trade to win today. Have a good trading day. Be smart. Make good choices.